Hello to everybody from Tiverton Bead and Wool Shop, and thank you for watching our bead and wool tube. So this video, we would like to start a little mini series about finishing touches in a knitting. And I know I really don't want to upset anybody, but sometimes in the shop here, this subject is really touchy, because I see the most beautiful knitting, really done, beautiful colors, quality yarn, really nice interesting pattern, and then it's stitched up, and that basically sums it. And for love or money, I can't understand how the most beautiful and quality knitters can do that to their finished work. So in this little series of videos, I would like to introduce you with the ways how I do it. And I know there are a lot of videos on YouTube, maybe even more precise, and we can argue, is it the right way or is it the wrong way, or there is another way of doing things. But that's how I do it, and that's, I must admit, is nearly the only way how I know how to do it. That was taught to me years ago, and it works, and I have never bothered, and that sounds very bad, but I never bothered to learn anything else. So the first thing which we will cover is how to prepare your garments for stitching up. And how do you finish your garment if you don't need to stitch it up? Two options. Let's say this one, which you will see in a second part of the video, is a little sample shawl. It's a small shawlette, which I did knit it up just to show the pattern, how it works, but it's not a full-size shawl. But as you can see at the moment, it looks a bit kind of, I don't know, rustic. And this one will really benefit from using a blocking technique to finish it, which means I will pin it down, I will dampen it, I will spray. Sometimes you can even wash it, and we will pin it down flat, as today is Saturday, and I will leave it in the afternoon after the shop is closed. I will leave it in the shop, and I will come back to it on Tuesday morning, and we will see how it has changed. And it does change a lot. So that's what you see at the moment. You see, the stitch definition is nearly there, but it's not really, kind of, it's a bit rustic. So that would be about blocking, which you will see in the end of this video. The other thing which sometimes helps, because the jumpers you really don't need to block, but jumpers benefit from simple steaming. We all know what iron is, I hope so. We all have ironing board. And sometimes just gentle steaming from the inside using a wet towel, put on the top of your knitting, make sure you arrange everything fine, and just gently steam it. And that will stop, especially if you're doing garments in stockinette stitch, that will stop the ends or prevent the ends curling. Like here, well, because it's garter and stockinette stitch combo, so the garter stitch is kind of holding the edges out. But if I would have only stockinette stitch, the edges would be curled up like that. And if you take this piece, which I will show you in a second video how to use mattress stitch to stitch up. This one is just a sampler of various yarns. You make your life more difficult. By gentle steaming, you create a nice flat edge, at least for some time, so which will give you the option to stitch it up nicely and accurately. And that's just about it for the beginning of the finishing touches. But like with everything, and I will repeat it again and again, to make a nice finish, you have to work your project all the way through. You need to follow the rules, you need to follow your increases, decreases, edge stitches, and then you can make a nice finish. If you have a good knitted piece, you have a chance. If you haven't followed and you haven't built up, it's like building a house. If you put foundations properly and the right size, you can build the house right size. If you don't have the foundations and you have kind of dodged the edging stitch or something like that, you can camouflage it, but it makes your finishing much more difficult. And yes, and by the way, when people say, oh, I hate doing all this, I can tell you one thing, so do I. But it's necessary evil, because I can't see the point of spending all the time, all the money, doing these beautiful knitted garments and then just stitch it up in the dark. So I will stop going on about it and we will swiftly move to the blocking part of the video. So see you all in a sec. To the second part of this video. And as I said, I will show you how you can really quickly and easy block your shawl. My shawl is here. The shawl is still dry. And what I'm using spray. It's no fancy spray. The bottle comes from next door's hairdressers. It's been emptied and then I just have put gentle warm water in it and nothing else. It's just I'm using the bottle because this one has really nice kind of misty spray. What else I'm using? I'm using blocking mats. The blocking mats, what it is just like, I think it's some polystyrene or something like that. They are very lightweight and they clip together like that. You possibly have seen very similar items in a children's play department where they call them play mats. But this one is from Knit Pro. It comes in a packet of 9 mats, so you can arrange them in the shape you need. And I'm using pins. If you buy the blocking mat kit, normally they come with a pack of pins. And the pins are what they call T-pins. They're like that. With quite substantial head, they are quite strong. But if you don't have them, you can use your drawing, for dressmaking pins as well. So they will be absolutely fine, and especially for smaller objects. Now then, how do you start? Like I said, this one is absolutely dry. And what I'm doing, I'm putting it on a mat. And I will be stretching it out gently. But before I start to do that, I am pinning it down. And I always start with pinning down the center. And now I will try to gently turn the camera so you can actually see what I'm doing instead of me. So I'm starting with the center. So I put a couple pins there and the center line. Because once that's done, then we can go for the sides. Done. I'm doing the first end. Sometimes if you need to and you want to get it absolutely perfectly symmetrical, use a ruler or tape measure to measure so you stretch both sides equally. And you will see once it's dampened, it does stretch out even more. And can you see when I'm stretching out how the pattern starts to show? In this shawl, ideally, if I would be doing for myself, I would be pinning possibly every single dot or the end of the fringe, but that is at the moment will just take too much time and it will bore you to tears me pinning every single thing down. So I'm doing every third one, but I'm still making sure that the other ones kind of look equally tidy. So 1, 2, 3, and you can see how even now I'm starting to gain extra fabric here on end. When you think like, oh, this one hardly stretched out, you can see how easily, without applying any force, this one is getting quite bigger and bigger. And if this shawl would be damp, you would even have more of that effect. So just a few more and we will be nearly done, and then what's left is just spray it damp and leave it till Tuesday when I come back to shop, and all the magic will happen without me present. See, there we go. And now I would like to show you here on the end. Can you see? Hopefully the camera will now not fall down. Oops. But can you see here this extra fabric forming? All you need to do is just pull it slightly further down. Oops. Right. And the last one. And I will be ready in a minute so you can come and see. So I have pinned the shawl down now, and now all is left is spraying. And right, I'm back on the camera. Hello. Yes, I am. So there we go. And all I'm doing now is using my spray and just go. Oh, my perfect spray is not working. Oh no, it does. And as you can see, it's just, how damp do you need it? I think it depends on your wool, and it depends how much you have stretched your object. And I think that will be perfectly fine for me. Oh, the spray's gone back to normal. And I'm just checking that it's all damp. I'm now looking at these pins. You can't really see, but these pins already kind of are asking to be replaced slightly because there's more volume appearing. So there we go. And that really just the one for good measure. There is no exact science in this. Once you have done one, you will know how much you want to spray. Just make sure all the tips are sprayed as well, because you want them to dry properly in a place as well. There we go. And I think this one is ready for me for Tuesday. So this part of the video is over. Now is the waiting game. And possibly in a part which I will stick between this one and the last part, when we will see how this one looks in real life, I will just show you how you steam your little pieces of knitting, the ones which you would like to stitch together. So keep watching. I think it's third part of this video about finishing touches. And what I would like to show you now is, can you see this? It's stockinette stitch. And what I would like to show you, before you will start your stitching up, if you have anything knitted in a stockinette stitch, you will have the same trouble. And this one is lovely. It will be a lovely scarf. But this one, you can block it like I was showing you in the first part and pin it down, but I'm a bit too lazy for that. And what I will do, this one, and especially if you have pieces of garment, I will just gently steam, and now hopefully it will all start to work. So I always do it from the inside, so just in a case I don't damage, and make sure that all the bits I would like to show are straight, like so. And then what I have there is clean, wet tea towel. Put the tea towel on, make sure your edges have unrolled, or put your tea towel so you can see. And now all you need to do with your iron, can you hear the sizzling sound? I hope you can hear me as well, because I have forgotten my good new microphone in the shop. But hey, so there we go, and I'm just gently steaming it. And so you can carry on until you have done all the piece. And can you see what's happening? It kind of starts to stop rolling. Once you have done that, can you see this edge? Now it's much more easier to see what you're doing. So if you would ever need to stitch up now this piece with another piece, your edge would be much clearer and you can put your stitches in much nicer. So I will need to continue, but I don't want to bore you to tears watching me doing all the scarf. I'll just do the end. So again, make sure everything is nice and neat. Place the towel and just press it down gently. So everything becomes kind of much smoother and much nicer. And you can see how it stops rolling and it stops the edge. I will need to put a little bit more work to it, but that's how you do steaming. So, and I will see you in a last part of the video when we will be releasing the pin down shawl. Hello and welcome to the last part of this video, where I would like to show you the results of my yesterday's steaming. There you see, you saw how kind of like a tubular my scarf was, and now after steaming you can see it has created really nice kind of drapey fabric. Obviously it depends on the type of yarn you're using, but this one has responded very well. And now you can see what I mean, that if now I would like to stitch those two edges together, can you see how much easier it would be to do? That I don't have this kind of total curl to deal with. I can now see the stitches nicely, I can see the edge, and I can carry on much more accurately and precisely. Oops, and there we have caught ourselves on the next object, which you remember from the first part of the video. Oops, I better take that pin out because I caught myself good and proper. Right. And there is the shawl, which I pinned down 3 days ago, Saturday afternoon. So now it's Tuesday morning, and I will take it off my blocking mat. So I will take all the pins out. And now you can see now it's absolutely dry. That's one thing you will need to check, because the time is not important. The important thing is that your shawl or your piece of knitting is totally dry. So it has dried on down, pinned down. So, and now, if I take the shawl, can you see the difference? I hope you can, between how the shawl was before I pinned it down and how nice and drapey, and you can see all the lacy edges, they are not curling up, so it shows the pattern, it shows the stripes, and it's just so much nicer object. Of course, both of the steaming and blocking, if you will wash your items, you will need to repeat it, because it's not forever. It's not chemically pressed on your knitting. It's very gentle. It's very natural process. So you will need to repeat it if you wash your items. But as you can see, it's very quick and easy, and really the word sometimes sounds much more scarier. I have, like I say, I have had customers coming in and still, oh my God, it's easy. Take your needle pins and just pin your knitting down. That's it. So in the second part, or the second video, this one is nearly to the end, because we have kind of, I think, I have showed you enough on the subject of blocking and steaming. So the next video will be about stitching up, and I will be showing you how I'm stitching it up with mattress stitch. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you learned something. If you have any questions, obviously contact below. Don't forget to subscribe, because we really treasure all our subscribers. And it's so nice to see that, oh, we have another one or another one. So yeah, thank you very much for watching, and see you all soon.